But this time last week, woo, my goodness, after we got off the webinar, oh my gosh. But it's much better. Thanks a lot for asking. All right, so I'm ready and we are recording. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's How to Become a Digi Millionaire, or Who Wants to Become a Digi Millionaire webinar. So let's see, who wants to become a Digi Millionaire? If that's you in your questions box, put a Y or a yes. Man, I want to be a Digi Millionaire. You might not even know what that means just yet. If you're new, you will find that out over the next few moments. Give me a moment. Let's make sure I get the right slides. And I do. Okay, fantastic. All righty. So let's go to work here. All right, so our objective, ladies and gentlemen, for our audience is to assist you in building a long-term sustainable business with multiple streams of income across multiple niches so that you ultimately have the financial and time freedom to hotly pursue the passions of your heart. Now, we've, over the past year or so, and let's say for 2017, beginning of 2017, we have been delving into the advertising niche, and the advertising platform that we have been promoting is still kind of in a beta. I was on a conference call this week with the actual two of the actual owners, and got a lot of great information. So we'll probably be sending out a video sometime this week. It may be this weekend to update those of you that have been a part of that particular following as to what's going on in the beta and what have you. Now, with that being said, we stumbled upon the Bitcoin niche. Now, we actually stumbled across this back in 2014, but we just did not understand what we had our hands on up until recently. A few weeks ago, my very dear, I call him Uncle Roo, has been part of our following and leadership since 2008 when we came online. Got in touch with us and said, hey, you've got to speak with this gentleman who's also been a part of our following for years. And it turns out that this other gentleman has built a tidy fortune over the past 3 years in the Bitcoin space, trading Bitcoin and other what we refer to as crypto or digi currencies. And ladies and gentlemen, we have to be a part of this space. This is the space that I believe will allow us to take our Joe and our Susie averages who may not be great at marketing yet, may never get great at marketing, all right, but still, we believe that you are going to walk away from tonight's webinar having a believable path, revealing to you a believable path to you becoming a Digi Millionaire. Okay, so let's talk about you and your family, and yes, you are worthy, and yes, you deserve it. Okay, I'm not here to talk about small numbers tonight. I'm talking about getting you and your family to what we call Digi Millionaire status. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin, but understand that when we talk about Bitcoin here, we're really talking about an entire space, an entire industry. Okay, now, typically when we do these webinars and we ask folks, how many of you know little to nothing about Bitcoin? We have quite a few folks that maybe have just heard of Bitcoin, but they don't really know what's going on with Bitcoin. So in order for you to appreciate what we're talking about, we've got to give you just a little Bitcoin basics, and over time you'll learn a lot more. Okay, Bitcoin was developed in 2009, and it is a form of digital currency. It's created and held electronically, and here's the big key. No one, no government, no Federal Reserve, no big company, no one controls it, okay? No one controls Bitcoin. Now, what we're seeing over the past few years since we've been in the Bitcoin niche, and again, when we first got into Bitcoin back in 2014, we had really no idea how big this thing would become. And now we're seeing it on a day in and day out basis as we'll begin to share. Excuse me. Okay, so with Bitcoin, you can actually buy things online. There's a lot of places you can go online that now not only take credit card or MasterCard or Visa, American Express, PayPal, but they also take Bitcoin as a form of payment. Now, one of the big keys about Bitcoin is, once again, it is decentralized, meaning there is no central government that is controlling it. Some of you might remember, gosh, when was this? Was this 2013-ish, I think it was? You might remember this. Greece was going through a lot of financial troubles, and there was a little tiny country called Cyprus. And there were a lot of wealthy people in that part of the world, a lot of wealthy Russians, Grecians, so on and so forth, that put a lot of money into the banks of Cyprus. Well, what happened was Cyprus basically went bankrupt. The country basically went bankrupt. And as a way of being bailed out, I want you to hear this, as a way of being bailed out, they basically shut down the banks for a spell. They limited the amount of money that you could withdraw from your account. So if you were a millionaire in whatever the unit of currency is that you would use in Cyprus, if you had $1 million sitting in your bank account, you could only access something like 100 euros a day, okay, no matter how much you had sitting in your account. And then they went and taxed certain accounts that were above a certain amount. No democratic process, no voting on it. They basically stole the money. Okay. Well, a lot of people started to wake up. Hey, we need to now store value, because paper money, US dollars, Euro dollars, it's not backed by anything. All right. And so, well, what's the difference between that and Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is not backed by gold or silver or anything like that, but none of these currencies are. Not anymore. They used to be, but not anymore. The difference is there's not going to be a government that's going to shut down your account and just go and steal it, which is what happened in Cyprus. And so people started to really wake up to this idea of becoming their own bank, because no single institution controls the Bitcoin network. If you are in the US, for instance, and you want to wire, let's say you're doing some commerce, maybe you have a fulfillment by Amazon business, and you're sourcing products out of China, and you need to send the company in China that's making your products that you're going to put into Amazon, fulfillment by Amazon, you need to wire them $10,000 or more in US dollars. I am telling you that that could be an issue depending on the bank that you're using. Sending money offshore outside of the US and that amount, oh my gosh. And how do I know? Because I've done stuff like that. And I actually had one bank that just without any notice shut my bank account down. Well, I won't say without any notice. They gave me a 2-week notice. Come get your money, because I was doing a lot of international commerce. Okay. Well, with Bitcoin, guess what? You can send and receive and receive and send all you want. You don't have to ask anybody's permission. None whatsoever. So whether you were sending $10,000 worth of Bitcoin or $10 million worth of Bitcoin, you don't have to ask anyone's permission. Nobody comes and shut down your Bitcoin account or what have you. Okay. All right. So that's a little bit about Bitcoin, just so that you can understand. Oh, let me give you something else. The reason merchants are loving Bitcoin is because one of the biggest challenges that merchants have is chargeback risk. Somebody charges something on a credit card today, and they come back 4 months from now saying to their credit card company, hey, I didn't get the product, or it didn't work the way they said it was going to, or what have you, and they do some type of dispute, and that could cause the company that's already delivered the product or the service or what have you to have to essentially give the money back, okay? Or there could be chargeback, there could be credit card fraud. I remember a company, great company. There was a company called My Harvest America. They had a great idea in the home business space. Essentially, you would join and you'd have a small monthly membership, and that would allow you to go online and shop for groceries. Normally things that were going to be non-perishable items. It would be shipped right to your door in a couple of days, and you got, I mean, really good deals on your groceries. And then all of a sudden the company just went away, and I never figured out, why did the company just go away? Well, it turns out that they were a victim of fraud. Somebody got a hold of some people's credit cards, made a bunch of charges, had positions set up so that they earned commissions from those charges, and then those items began to charge back. And in 1 month, I'm told, over $11 million in chargebacks to that company. And that's why that company went away. Well, guess what? With Bitcoin, had there been $11 million of purchases with Bitcoin, there are no chargebacks with Bitcoin. So that's one reason that merchants love Bitcoin. One reason is that individuals like you and me love Bitcoin is we get to be our own bank, and we don't have to ask anybody's permission to send value. Bitcoin is a store of value, okay? Now, when Bitcoin first came about, the very first transaction with Bitcoin, someone exchanged 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 large pizzas. Okay, 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 large pizzas. Today, Bitcoin is over $2,700 a coin. All right, now, if you're buying Bitcoin, you don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. Just like if you were using US dollars, you've got 0.01 represents 1/100th of a dollar, or 1 cent, 1 penny. Well, in Bitcoin, you can actually go 8 decimals, 0.0000001. All right, so it can be a very small piece of a Bitcoin. But look at what someone recently posted on a blog. They said that Bitcoin's price will hit $250,000 by 2020, 2.5 years from now, if the 7-year trend continues. What's been the 7-year trend? So this blogger then posts what the average daily value change has been in Bitcoin since 2010. Let's make it a little bit bigger here, okay? So in 2010, on average, now you would have your ebbs and flows. You'd have your ups and downs. You would have days where Bitcoin was up. You'd have days where Bitcoin was down. You would have days where Bitcoin was up significantly. You would have days when Bitcoin was down significantly. Yet in 2010, on average, if you just held on to Bitcoin, you weren't trading it. We'll talk about trading in just a moment, and why you want to consider trading either personally or certainly using an automated trading platform. All right, think about this. In your bank account, what are you earning for the year with your savings account? Maybe just over 1% a year. And here in 2010, the average price of Bitcoin increased. Again, there were days when it was up, days when it was down, but the average was 0.82% a day. I want you to just think about that. Here you have this store of value, this asset, all right, this digital asset called Bitcoin. And if you had just stuck, you know, $100, $1,000, $10,000 and just let it sit there, on average in 2010, it grew by 0.82% a day. 2011, 0.76, 2012, 0.26, 2013, over 1% a day. 2014, in this last 7 years, the only year that Bitcoin has had a down year was 2014. 2015, 2016, and now you see what it looks like so far in 2017. So here is what this blogger, Jameson Lopp, is saying. He's saying, if Bitcoin just does what it's been doing the next 2.5 years, now I don't know if he was saying by the end of 2020, let's assume he's saying by the end of 2020, so that would make it the next 3.5 years, okay? So if Bitcoin just does the next 3.5 years, what it has done the last 7, nothing more, nothing less, he's saying that the price of Bitcoin would be valued at, based on it doing the next 3.5 years, what it's done the last 7 years. Nobody can guarantee that's going to happen. But if that were to happen, one Bitcoin would be valued at $250,000 a coin. Ladies and gentlemen, that makes it very simple. If Jameson is anywhere close to being right, and you had 4 Bitcoins, and it hit $250,000 a coin, you've got $1 million worth of Digi assets. By the way, when we say Bitcoin, you're going to find out that there's a lot more than just Bitcoin. Bitcoin represents an entire space now, okay? Bitcoin was the first of these digital currencies. There's now over 700 of these digital currencies. One is actually challenging Bitcoin for supremacy in the space. You'll see that in just a few moments. Okay. All right. So let's share with you our Digi Millionaire Blueprint. I'm going to give you the outline, and then we're going to put the meat on the bones. Number one is we want to participate in an auto trading platform that leverages a team of professional Bitcoin traders. Now, all of us should do this because we'll be able to participate with as little as $100 in Bitcoin, okay? So $100 worth of Bitcoin, you'll be able to participate. The pre-launch of this system is set to start this week. And I had a very brief conversation with the owner or the CEO of the company today. He said we are just about there. He thinks that we should go into pre-launch anywhere from as early as this evening to maybe Thursday, okay? So sometime between now and Thursday, he thinks that we'll be ready to start the pre-launch. He's saying that it'll be in pre-launch for about 30 days. After that, it will be in full launch mode, in which case people will be able to fund their trading accounts, allow the trading team to do what the trading team does. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the past performance that they've had as they have over $100 million in assets that they are currently trading, even before the auto trade system. So everyone should take advantage of that because without no monthly subscription on that, there's no monthly auto ship on that. You put into your account what you can afford. Don't go out and hurt yourself. You know, some will start off with 100, some will start off with 1,000, some will start off with 10,000, 50,000, whatever the number happens to be. Just don't hurt yourself, okay? Now, we're going to also show you how to begin to build a network of auto traders because there's going to be an amazing compensation model tied to the auto trade platform. The model that this company is using, we saw that same type model in a previous venture. And in a very short time frame, we had Joe and Susie averages generating thousands of dollars in profit per month from the overriding. All right. And collectively, our team generated millions of dollars in revenue with that same type model. Okay. There's a young lady that has been a part of our following for well over a decade. And when we were engaged in that model that generated millions of dollars in commissions for our following, we didn't know what we know now about internet marketing and traffic generation and all those good things, okay? So it was basically people started having their own story and started simply sharing their own story. And in 17 months, we had 250,000 people all across the globe on our team. And again, generated millions upon millions of dollars for our teammates. Now, this particular young lady, she only recruited one guy. That was it, one dude. She recruited one dude, and that one dude recruited nobody, okay? But with that model, and again, this new auto trading platform is embracing or leveraging the same type of model in terms of compensation. About a year into that particular venture, with only having recruited one dude, and that one dude having not recruited anybody, our young lady, our Susie average, was averaging about $1,000 a week that she was putting in her pocket from profits. $1,000 a week, $4,000 a month. Now, we didn't know then what we know now. And more importantly, we didn't have systems then that we have now and are tweaking and developing for this niche. The third part is Bitcoin education. You've got to get some Bitcoin education, and we really want to immerse ourselves. Now think this through. We're going to show you how you can potentially become a Digi millionaire. So don't you think we should spend a little time beginning to understand this Digi industry, this cryptocurrency space? They often refer to it as cryptocurrencies, okay? Plus, this coming Thursday, we're going to introduce to our audience my personal Bitcoin trading mentor. Now, here's the gentleman that's actually been a part of our following for years from a network marketing perspective. And little did we know that he, over the last 3 years, has been trading in Bitcoin. He has built a tidy fortune very quietly because of what he knows now about Bitcoin. And as a matter of fact, he's going to take on a few folks that want to learn how to trade themselves. I want you to participate in the auto trading, yes. But I also want you to strongly consider learning how to trade, because that's a skill set that no one will ever be able to take from you. And I'm going to tell you that is liberating. So those of you who are interested in maybe learning how to trade, very simple strategy. It is not difficult at all. You're not going to have to look at charts all day long. You're not going to have to spend half your day. No, very simple. You'll hear more about that on this coming Thursday. Number 4, we want to diversify into other credible Digi offers. Now, I've begun testing a couple of offers that I believe, if they do what they say they will do, paired with what we're doing with the auto trading, can definitely get you to Digi millionaire status. I'm not prepared to talk about them just yet. I want to test them for at least a couple of months. So probably sometime in August is, if they test well, is when we'll say, hey, now let's also diversify into a couple of these other platforms. Now, what I'm testing, just so you know, okay, they're not based on you having to recruit. They're not based on you having to do any of those things. They really allow you to put your money at work. Now, I'm not talking about some of this crap stuff that's out here, some of this, dung stuff that's been going around, where they say they're going to pay you 6% a day, or you're going to double your Bitcoin, and they don't ever show you any proof of what they're doing. I'm not talking about that kind of crap, okay? All right, so give us a couple of months of testing. Assuming they test well, then we will add that to our Digi Millionaire Blueprint. But we definitely want to diversify within the space. And then number 5, developing a coin portfolio. I'm going to show you a little bit about the power of that in tonight's webinar. Okay, so let's go forward here. Let's talk a little bit about step number 1, the auto trading platform. So with auto trading, it's just that. It's automatic trading where you don't have to take the trade. All right. Again, I want those of you that want to learn how to trade, I want you to learn that skill set. It's very liberating. All right. But wouldn't it be great if you had a system that all you basically had to do was fund it? All right. And the professionals do what the professionals do. So let's talk to you a little about what they've been doing. One of the traders, not to be confused with our trading mentor. So when I talk about a trading mentor, he is not one of the traders of the auto trade system. Very well should be, because he's so successful, but he's not part of the auto trade system, okay? So I'm talking about 2 things when I talk about my trading mentor versus the auto trade system. All right, so one of the auto traders is affectionately referred to by the system as Mr. X. What Mr. X likes to do is he likes to hold on to some of these coins. Okay, again, there are over 700 or so digital currencies, cryptocurrencies these days. Okay, and there's more coming to market every single week. And so he's not in and out, in and out, in and out. He's getting into positions, building positions, holding on to those, because one of the things that we're seeing in this space is just rapid appreciation of some of these types of assets. So here's what he did, is he took an account that was $1 million account. In just a few short months, it doubled. It was 2.2 million. Okay, now I don't know when this screenshot was taken. At the time, this account had 1,142 Bitcoins. All right, now I know the exchange that this account trades on, because it's the same exchange that our trading mentor uses, one of the exchanges that he uses, and the same exchange that you see me, for those of you who have been on our webinars, whenever we show trading, we show it from this particular exchange. This exchange is called Poloniex. In the stock market, you would refer to it as a brokerage account, an E-Trade account, a TD, Ameritrade account, so on and so forth. In the coin market, in the Digi market, they're referred to as exchanges. Now, I want to do this real quickly. I want to take this 1,142 Bitcoins, and I want to go to the market now. And I want to see if that account was just at 1,142 Bitcoins. It didn't grow. It just stayed there in Bitcoin. What would that be worth now? It was worth 2.2 million back then. Give us a moment. All right. I'm at a place called coinmarketcap.com. I'm going to refresh the screen so we can get more up-to-date pricing. And right now, Bitcoin is going for $2,714.81 a coin. So now, let's look at what that would be worth. We're going to take the 1142 worth of Bitcoin, all right, 1142 Bitcoins in that account, times 2714.81. Whoops, sorry. 1142 times 2714.81. And ladies and gentlemen, that account, if all it did was just stayed in Bitcoin, wasn't buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, okay, that account today would be worth $3.1 million. Now, I don't know when the screenshot was taken, okay? We can find out what the price of Bitcoin was back then. We just take the 2.2 million, 2214,860.77, and divide it by the 1142. I won't do all the decimals there. So Bitcoin was going for about $1,900 a coin at the time. Well, Bitcoin's now going for $2,700 a coin. Now, you don't have to know everything about Bitcoin to understand that numbers never lie. If you had $1,000 sitting in the bank, sitting in cash, how much is that going to grow by in a year's time? Not much. But if you had that $1,000 sitting in Bitcoin, I'm going to show you just how much it could have grown just over the last year. We'll do that in just a few moments. Okay? All right, so now let's talk about Mr. Y. He is another trader that the auto trade system will have. Again, not to be confused with our trading mentor. Mr. Y is more aggressive. He's more of a trader, in and out, in and out, in and out, and he likes to trade what are called ICOs. Well, what is an ICO? Well, in the stock market, there is an IP, as in Paul O, an IPO, and that stands for initial public offering. And what happens in the stock market is that companies come and list their stock where they're basically selling off a portion of their company to raise capital so that they can expand and build factories and hire people and what have you, okay? Also, it's one of the greatest stores of value for the mega rich. So for instance, the reason that Mark Zuckerberg there in Facebook is worth some, what is he worth, 50-some billion with a B dollars, is because obviously he's the guy behind Facebook, and he has a ton of shares, so that when the stock went public, you take the number of shares he has times whatever the price of Facebook stock is, and you start to see why the dude is worth some 50-some billion dollars, and the guy over Amazon is very soon might become the wealthiest man in the world, again because of stock ownership. Well, what's happening is there are platforms that are coming to the coin market, and they're doing ICOs. initial coin offerings. Why? Because they're not having to go through all of the red tape that they would have to go through if they wanted to get listed on, let's say, the U.S. stock market, or maybe the London exchanges, or what have you. They can come to the coin market. They don't have to ask anybody's permission, and they can do an initial coin offering. Our trading mentor, I was on a webinar with him not long ago, and he started to share some of the ICOs that he had been a part of. One ICO, he got the coin for $1 a coin. That coin is now going for, last time I looked at it about last week, was going for like $26. He did another ICO, $1 a coin. That coin is going for, I think, $28. He did another ICO, $2 a coin. That particular coin now is going for, I saw it as high as $88. Okay, so this particular trader likes those ICOs, and he took an account from 200 Bitcoins to 600 Bitcoins, tripling the account in just a 90-day period. Okay, now we can do the same thing here. We can take the 608 Bitcoins, multiply it times the current price of Bitcoin, which was 27.14, I think it was. Yep. And that account would be worth, assuming it still has 600 Bitcoins, could be more, could be less, would be worth $1.65 million. Now, the beautiful part is that these auto traders heretofore have been trading for high net worth individuals. All right, so even 200 Bitcoins that this account started off at $2,700 a coin is a significant account balance to start with. Or an account that had $1 million worth of Bitcoin, and then a few months later, it's more than doubled. That's a significant amount to start with. So the advantage that we have with this new automatic trading platform is the fact that you and I can engage with that platform for as little as $100 worth of Bitcoin. That's huge, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's interesting. I've had some conversations here with a few family members that are not entrepreneurs, that heretofore, if I ever brought a business to them, that just wasn't them. And I had a conversation with my brother and his fiance. And I've never known his fiance to be someone who was even interested in business. And I asked this question. Hey, bruh, are you ready to become a millionaire? Well, I had his attention. Hey, bruh, have you ever heard about Bitcoin? No, he hadn't heard much about Bitcoin, but we started having just a brief conversation about Bitcoin and how I believe that if he follows our game plan, that he could become a Digi millionaire. And all of a sudden, his fiance was locked in. Even though she is not an entrepreneur, she's not a business builder or what have you, okay? Now, the reason that we're promoting this particular auto trade platform, there's a few of them out there, all right, is because they have vowed that they will prove that they are actually trading, that they will actually go in on a weekly basis and they will go behind some of the accounts, do a video to show that there's real trading activity going on, none of that funny stuff. Unfortunately, because there's so much money that could be made in this industry, it attracts anything that makes a lot of money, attracts a lot of sharks. And so some of you have probably been bitten by sharks called Gladia coin or what have you. Yeah, I said it. Okay. Any trading system that says, hey, we trade, but they don't show you evidence of trading, it would be a suspect system in my book. And you'll see why in just a few moments, because I want to show you the evidence of trading without divulging any sensitive information. Okay. All right. So this is a little bit about the auto trade. Now, what I want to do is I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to just show you just how explosive this entire space is. Take a look at this chart. All right. It looks at April the 30th, 2017 to May the 10th, 2017. Less than 2 full weeks. Less than 2 full weeks. Okay. And you'll see now these currencies trade like you would with a stock, where a stock has a ticker symbol. Microsoft, for instance, has a ticker symbol in the stock market of MSFT. IBM has a ticker symbol of IBM, so on and so forth. Well, these currencies have ticker symbols, and they trade in exchanges. Think of an exchange like you would a stockbroker's account, like Charles Schwab or E-Trade or what have you. So BTC is the symbol for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was up in less than 2 weeks, 34%. I want you to see how explosive this space is. If you had a retirement account and it did 34% in a year, if you had a stock account and it did 34% in a year, if you had a mutual fund account, I used to sell mutual funds when I first got in this industry back in the mid-90s, 1994, I got licensed and sold mutual funds up until about 99 for about 5 years. Never made a lot of money, but I sold them. All right. When I would show our potential clients a fund, our best fund that we were promoting was averaging about 18% a year. And that was an amazing fund. If your mutual fund manager got you a 34% return for the year, they would be on every major financial publication because that's a phenomenal return. And Bitcoin returned that in less than 2 weeks. Now, some of you didn't know much about Bitcoin, but you at least heard of it. Maybe in passing, you heard someone say something about Bitcoin. You probably were not familiar with a coin called Ripple. Now, you might know the drink. I knew the drink from watching Sanford and Son. Fred Sanford was always talking about drinking Ripple, and if he wanted to be upscale, he would mix it with some champagne, and he would have some champipple. I thought that was all fiction. I was too young to drink back then. My cousin Queen told me, no, there is something called Ripple. Well, it's actually a coin. It's a digital currency, not the drink. It was up 238% during the same time frame, less than 2 weeks. Here is a coin that was up 489% in less than 2 weeks. So I've been involved in the financial markets in some form or fashion since '94. When I first got in this industry, I got my life insurance license and my securities license to be able to market mutual funds. From 94 to 99, I marketed mutual funds. In 99, I started trading actively in the stock market. 2003, we picked up the Forex. 2013, 14, we picked up binary options. I hate binary options. That is a talk about shark-infested waters. And just here recently, we started trading and teaching our son, who our mentor has taught us what he's been doing, and we've simply taught that to our sons, and they're having phenomenal success in their own trading accounts. So I want you to see just how powerful this niche is and why no matter what you may be promoting, if you are in network marketing and maybe you're in nutrition or maybe you're in advertising or maybe you're in whatever it is that you're in, don't stop promoting that, but you definitely want to add this niche. So let me show you real quickly. All right, real quick. All right, so what I'm about to show you now is going to be a combination of 3 and 5, okay? A combination of 3 and 5. Let me show you just a little bit about the personal trading real quickly. Not all of you are going to want to trade yourselves, but I just want to show you. I'm going to refresh the screen here. We are actually in my son's trading account. Okay, and see here. All right, so what you're seeing, now I want you to notice what you're not seeing. You do not see his balance. Now I could click and I could show his balance, but obviously I'm not going to show that on the screen. You don't see his name, you don't see his account number, but what you do see is evidence of trading activity. So I'll just make this a little bit bigger here, and we can just pay attention to what has happened today, all right, June the 20th. And you can see here there's been a number of transactions. There were some things that sold earlier in the day, okay? So really quickly, If you don't want to learn how to trade, don't worry about that. I just want to show you how explosive this this marketplace is, okay? So with what our trading mentor has taught us and what I've relayed to my sons and my wife, okay? So they will all be trading, okay? And leveraging the auto trade platform and what have you. Every time you see a sell here, that represents a 4% return for that trade gross. You subtract out some exchange fees, basically their commissions, about 3.5% net. Okay? Now, look at this. Today, there was this one position here. Now, this was one position, though it looks like 3 sells, it was really one position. What happens in the market is, let's say if you were wanting to sell, let's use the stock market as an example. You want to sell 100 shares of stock. You own, maybe 200 or 300 shares. You want to sell 100 shares of stock. And you put an order that says sell at this price. Sell it at $10 a share. And the market moves, constantly. And so it might hit $10 for just a brief moment or two. And you might be able to sell off 52 of your shares, but you want to sell 100. All right, and then the market hits your price again, and you sell off another 32, and then it hits your price again, and now you've fully sold off the amount that you wanted to sell. That's what happened right here. So where you see 3 sales, that was actually one order that it took it hitting that price 3 times before he was out. But notice this. Now I want to go back here. This goes back to January the 15th. I'm showing you real transactions. Here he sold. Came back and bought, sold again. Look at this. Look at this at the bottom. Look at this. All right. Don't have to know what all this stuff means, but this obviously looks like this is the same thing he's buying and selling, right? So he sold it here, found out he sold it, came in, bought it here, and a little later on, less than 2 hours, he sold it again. We see this all the time. He bought this right here, BLK XMR, okay, on the 17th. And you can see he sold BLK XMR on, I'm sorry, that was the 16th. That was the 16th, sorry. At 8.56, and he sold it on the 17th. All right, so he sold it the next day. And then we see here he buys ZEC XMR. And we'll see that he sells ZEC XMR here. Remember, each one of these, 4% return. And then he buys ZEC XMR again. That was today, on the 20th. And then he sells ZEC XMR again. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what I've just shown you, without showing anything overly sensitive, as I've shown you trading proof. Any trading system that says, hey, we trade, ought to be able to show you trading proof. I just wanted to take a look at this one asset that he's been buying and selling, ZEC XMR, and you'll see this goes back to May the 29th. He bought and sold. He bought and sold. He bought, took a while for all the amount that he wanted to buy to hit, and then he sold. And he bought and 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 he sold. I want to show you just how explosive this niche is. Now, you may never decide to trade yourself. For those of you who want to learn to trade yourself, we're going to be introducing our trading mentor, not to be confused with our auto trade platform. I would love for you to do both, because this right here, nobody can ever take away from you. Network marketings come, network marketing companies go, but this right here, nobody can ever take away from you. I'll do this just a couple more times, and then I want to show you the power of a coin portfolio, okay? All right, so that was ZEC XMR, okay? Which, by the way, very interesting. This happened right before the webinar. It placed here today. Wait a minute, hold on. That's not right. Bear with me. That's all ZEC XMR, so that's not right. Bear with me. If you're starting to see your way to Digi Millionaire status, put DM in your questions box. You're starting to see your way to Digi Millionaire status. Put DM in your questions box, okay? Again, for those of you who are never going to want to learn how to trade, that's fine. We have the auto trade system. For those of you that are going to want to learn how to trade, we're going to introduce you to our trading mentor. I would say do both, okay? I would say do both. All right, let's do one more here. Let's do this BTCD. Not a lot of activity there. Let's find something that I know he's gone in and out of several times. Bear with me. Darn. Bear with me, okay? Almost there. All right. Let's see. Done that one. Done that one. I think he's done this one quite a few times. Yeah. All right. So here's another example. He started trading this one back on June the 10th. Now, all these buys, same thing. Really one transaction, then the sell. Buys, then the sell. Buys, then the sell. Buys, then the sell. Buys, then the sell. We can see the dates over here. Okay. So in most of these transactions, he's not in them that long. There's been a few that maybe he was in for a couple of weeks, but in many cases, sometimes it's the same day. Sometimes it's, you know, the same hour. Oftentimes he might be in a position for a day or two or what have you. But every time you see sell, 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 with the exception of, you know, when this was like one transaction here, all of these were one transaction. We're talking 4% growth, 4% growth, 4% growth. So his trading portfolio in his first 30 days, trading the way that his mentor taught him, 80% plus in his account. It's kind of hard to keep up with now because he's added some to it, okay? He works a job, but, you know, he doesn't really have any bills, so he takes a certain percentage and he saves it for a rainy day, and he takes a certain percentage, and that's his investment capital. Same thing with my younger son as well. My older son is 21. My younger son is 19. They will both be Digi millionaires in the next 2-3 years. Okay. All right. Now let me show one other thing here, and we're going to start rounding third. This is a tremendous tool. I want you to get used to using this tool. It's called CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap.com. CoinMarketCap.com. Okay, I want you to use this. This is going to help your belief level if you're new to this space, as most of you are. Okay, CoinMarketCap.com. Now, I need you to understand, it didn't take me long to figure out what our trading mentor was doing, because I have actually traded since 1999. So most of you are going to start slower. All right, so you saw a bunch of transactions there. Most of you are not going to start, even if you learn how to trade, you're not going to start, you know, with that scale of transactions. But in time, you'll have a trading sheet just like that, okay? And what I just showed you was trading proof without showing anything that was overly sensitive, okay? All right, so let's go to CoinMarketCap.com, and we're going to look at a couple things here. I'm going to bring this up on a couple of different windows. By the way, when the trading system launches, or even pre-launches, hopefully in the next day or two, on Tuesday nights, we'll do a webinar just like this, all right? And it will be like this, meaning we're not just going to hype the auto trade system, because our game plan to get you to Digi millionaire status is not dependent on any one step. We really want to combine as many of those steps as you want to combine. I hope you combine all 5. Some of you may not ever want to learn how to trade yourself or what have you. All right, but it's not dependent on just one. So we want people to walk away from the webinar saying, yeah, I can see how I can become a Digi millionaire. I want you to notice something real quickly up at the top. This is a banner, and it says Join ICO. This is a system that's coming to the coin market to actually raise funds And instead of going and doing an IPO, they're doing an ICO. Let me just click here and see if it says how much money they've raised so far. There was one company that did an ICO, and I think they raised over $100 million in like record time. Just absolutely crazy. They're not saying how much they've earned. There was another one that did an ICO, and it raised over $53 million, I believe it was, in 30 days. And not long after they closed the ICO, they went on an exchange, and immediately, as a matter of fact, I'll show you, immediately that particular, where are you? This one right here, Mobile Go, that particular coin now has a market cap of $118 million. This was a company that a month ago was in the final stages of its ICO. Did you hear that lyrical miracleness? A month ago, they were in their ICO. Oh my gosh, that boy is talented. My goodness. He was moaning for love with Al Green. He was out singing the legend Bob Dylan. And now he's the hip hop mogul. My gosh. All right. Pay attention. 762 currencies. A lot more than just Bitcoin. And let's do this. I got to speed up. All right. Let's do this real quickly. I want to show you something here. All right. Let's refresh this. Get the most up-to-date prices on Bitcoin. 27.17 now. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I want to show you part of our game plan is you ultimately building a coin portfolio where you have a basket where you own some of these Digi assets. Now, let me show you that had you had $1,000, we're going to play the what if game. Had you had $1,000 just parked in Bitcoin over the last year, what that would have grown to, okay? So this is the pricing today, $2737.37. 2717.37, okay? All right, now let's go back and see what it was this time last year. So we're going to open up another tab here, and we're going to go under, by the way, here you see another ICO. You see that? The platform, the trading platform that is about to go into pre-launch, they will also have an ICO component where they will be promoting various ICOs. I don't know what all that means. I just know that that could be huge. Okay. All right. So now we're going to come to the other tab, and we're going to come to where it says Tools and Historical Snapshots. All right. Now what we're going to do, look, here's another ICO. You see that? Here's another ICO. They're all over the place. We're seeing several of these hit every single week. Now we're going to scroll down, and we're going to look back about a year ago. Today's date is June the 20th. And we're going to look for June, as close as we can, June the 19th. All right. So we were at CoinMarketCap. We clicked on to Tools, I believe it was. Yep. And then Historical Snapshots. Okay. And now we're going to choose the closest thing to a year, June the 19th. And what this is going to do is this is going to tell us what prices were this time last year. Okay. What were prices this time last year? So right now, Bitcoin is going for $2,717 and some change. All right. So I've already put that in my calculator. Last year, Bitcoin was going for $752.33 about a year or so ago today. So I'm going to subtract this out. And so Bitcoin is up $1,965.04 a coin. Now I'm going to put that in because that's your profit. If you take your profit, divide it by what you started off with. All right. So let's say that we all had the presence of mind this time last year to say, hey, let's buy some Bitcoin at $752.33. So you take your profit per coin, divide it by the original purchase price, had we purchased it for that amount at that time. And this is going to tell you your rate of return, and we get to play the what if game. Okay? All right, so what this tells us is that from this time last year, Bitcoin is up 2.6 times, or 261%. So had you had $1,000 that you had parked in Bitcoin, so you would have purchased a little more than a Bitcoin, all right, but you had $1,000 parked in Bitcoin, you forgot about it. You weren't trading it in and out, in and out, in and out like I showed you a few moments ago. You just forgot about it. And you came back a year later, your $1,000 would have made $2,611. And if you add your original $1,000 to the kitty, your $1,000 would be worth $3,611. Now, if your money, your $1,000 had sat in cash, in euros if you're in certain parts of Europe, in Australian dollars if you're one of my Aussies, if Canadian dollars if you're in Canada, US dollars if you use the US dollar, what would your $1,000 be worth today? Not much more. And then there's this thing called inflation, whereby that $1,000 probably wouldn't buy $1,000 worth of stuff today like it did this time last year. Now that's impressive, ladies and gentlemen. So the blogger says if Bitcoin just does the next 3.5 years what it's done the last 7 years, Bitcoin would be at $250,000 a coin. 4 coins would make you a Digi millionaire if it hit 250,000. Now, most people were not, up until maybe recently, did not know about something called Ethereum, which is actually challenging Bitcoin for crypto supremacy. This time, Ethereum right now is $359.88 a coin. But this time last year, Ethereum was only $12.26 a coin. It has grown $347 a coin. Now, if you divide that by what it was going for this time last year, then your $1,000 would be up 28 times. So, 28 times $1,000, your $1,000 in Ethereum would have grown by $28,353. $1,000 a year ago in Ethereum would be $28,000 in profits. Add your $1,000 to it. Your $1,000, ladies and gentlemen, would be up to $29,353. Most people had heard of Bitcoin, you would have been up $2,600 in profits. Most had not heard of Ethereum up until recently. You would have been up $28,000 in profits. Let me show you one more. Okay. Let's look for, give me a moment. We were talking about Ripple. Let's do Ripple. Ripple right now is going for 32 cents. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to show you we've got a 5-step game plan, a 5-step blueprint. One part of the blueprint is to ultimately get you to the point where you've got the resources, where you can start building out your own coin portfolio. All right? We can't say that in the next year or 2 years or 3 years that the types of returns that we're seeing will be that explosive. It may not be that explosive, but there's still a whole lot of space, a whole lot of room for this space to grow. All right, so 32 cents. We're going to subtract out what it was going for this time last year. This time last year, it was going for less than a penny. 0.001 would be a penny. 0.006 means it was going for 6 tenths, almost 7 tenths of a penny. I'm going to subtract out 0.006598. Profit would have been 31 cents, almost 32 cents, excuse me, a coin. We divide that, excuse me for coughing in your ear, by 0.006598. That's up 48 times. 48 times. So now, ladies and gentlemen, what if game? If you had $1,000 in Ripple, your $1,000 would be $48,000 today. I'm sorry, that's the profit. And then you add the other, the original 1,000, and you'd be at 49,000. I went through and I looked at the top 10 from last year. And Bitcoin gets all the headlines because she was first in the space. But every one of the top 10 from last year outperformed Bitcoin, and in some cases by a very wide margin. I went through and did this. Now, prices change, but I went through and did this a couple weeks ago and said, man, if we had put $1,000 into every one of the top 10 coins, okay, if we had the resources and the presence of mind to have done that, $10,000 stretched out across 10 different coins. Now, I'm not talking about trading it. I'm not talking about this. Buying and selling, taking little profits, getting back in the market, taking a little bit more profits. This just allows you to get there maybe a little quicker. And this is why the auto trading platform is so important, to allow us to grow our Bitcoin or our Digi asset base quicker, and then start to take some of those profits and start to build our own coin portfolio. Because once again, nobody can take that away from you either. And we don't want to put all of our eggs in any one basket. Okay, 1,000 in each of those coins, $10,000. A year later, $268,000 is what that would have been worth. And that was a couple weeks ago, so it might be more, probably would be more. Okay, let me do one last thing. I'm a little bit past my time here. I just want to show you again the explosiveness. I'm still at coinmarketcap.com. Let me show you another tool. Go under where it says trending and then click where it says gainers and losers. And this is just to show you how explosive this marketplace is. Now, what it does is it gives us the top performing coins over the last 24 hours. Okay, so you can see here is this coin, dope coin, up 242%. Doesn't mean you want these coins. I just want you to see the explosiveness. This one is up 126%. This one is up 124%. There's hardly a day that I come here that I don't see at least 1, 2, or 3 coins that are up 100% for the day. For the day. Okay? Let's see if there's any of these that I know. Yeah, I know this one. This is one. I don't own this one, but I know that our trading mentor does. Up almost 38% for today. Okay. All right. And then you can also look at where it says for the last 7 days. Will you look at this? Here's a coin that's up 2,900%. I started off my network marketing career with a company that sold life insurance and mutual funds. I went and got licensed. And for 5 years, I promoted basically mutual funds and various type of products tied to like the mutual fund arena. The most we could ever show in an illustration of how the fund worked was 12% a year. The best fund that we promoted with the company I was promoting for had an average of 18% a year. I'm not saying that we would have ever gotten in on No Limit Coin. No Limit Coin might be a crap coin. A lot of these coins are crap coins. But I want you to see how explosive the industry is. Here's one. This is one of the top 25 coins now in market cap. 372% for the week. Let's see if I know any of these that are up significantly for the week. First Blood, I'm aware of that one. Again, this one I know that our mentor owns, up 98% for the week. All right, so let me finish with this. Now, hopefully you're starting to see our 5-step Digi Millionaire blueprint. Now, the trading platform is going to have a referral system. I believe you're going to find it probably the easiest thing to refer, because you're going to be able to use your account as proof that you're getting profits. Okay, Also, we've got a whole system that we're developing, lead capture pages, 30-day video follow-up series to promote the 5 steps. So yes, it will promote the auto trade system, but it's going to really promote the 5 steps. We want people buying into the entire 5 steps. And the reason that's going to be important for you is that as people buy into the entire 5 steps, ultimately, as we're testing other offers, all right, and we don't want to start talking about them until we've had a chance to test them and we feel good about them. But ultimately, when we test other offers, when someone joins you in the auto trade system, and then we say, hey, here's another offer that we want to diversify into, that's going to allow you to generate multiple streams of income. All right, so really quickly, how this is going to work is that anyone that you refer to the auto trade platform, assuming that you refer, you're not required to, whenever they make a deposit into their account and whenever they have profits in their account and they choose to reinvest all or some of those profits, you're going to get a 10% override. Now, the minimum is 100, but I think a lot of people are going to do a lot more than 100. And there's obviously going to be people that have more means. Don't go hurt yourself. That's going to start off into the thousands, maybe even into the tens of thousands. No cap on that. So I know that there have been things that I have promoted in various spaces of investments where I had clients that did $30,000 and $40,000 and $50,000. If that happens here, could you imagine someone, a $10,000 deposit, you get 10%, you just made $1,000 in Bitcoin, and you can now use that to trade in your own account. You can withdraw all or some of that. You can convert Bitcoin very easily into cash if you need to pay bills in cash, so on and so forth. On your second tier, you refer John. John refers Mary. So Mary would be on your second tier, 3% of her deposit and any ongoing investments, whether she invests new money, deposits new money, or whether she has existing profits that she reinvests. 3% there, and then on your third level, 2%. We saw in a very short time frame this type of setup. It was 10% on the first level, 5 on the second, nothing on the third. Okay, so they just simply broke it down and they took the same 5%, stretched it so that you can get something on the third. We saw this right here, this simple, very simple pay plan generate millions of dollars for our audience. And I believe that what we saw back then will be small compared to what's about to happen. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's round third here. Okay. All right, so let's round third here. What you want to do is, if you're not already, now the name of the company that's launching the trading platform won't be called this, but the name of the company that's launching the trading platform is called AdsCash. The CEO of AdsCash is the CEO of the new trading platform. Now, what we've been doing is we've been getting people to register for AdsCash for free. Okay? And the reason we've been doing that is because they are migrating the entire genealogy, which includes over 400,000 folks now from across the globe, into the trading genealogy. And so we've been getting people to get situated in AdsCash so that they could go on and start pre-building even before the pre-launch started. And so we already have people Fee out there, Felicia Green, she's building a masterful team. Erica, one of her great leaders, building a masterful team. Brian Fussy, building a masterful team. James Harris, building a masterful team. Queen, building a oh, did you hear that? You hear that? Queen, building a masterful team. My gosh, that boy. What can't he do? He can moan for love. He can sing some Bob Dylan better than Bob Dylan. He can I can play some James Brown, and I might even squall a little bit. My gosh, and now he's the lyrical miracle. All right, so what you want to do is you want to get back to the person that referred you and say, hey, if you have that AdsCash link, send me the AdsCash link. You're going to register for free. You don't have to worry about making any purchases. Be mindful. When you register, it's going to ask for your phone number. What we have found is there was a little bug in their system. When you put your phone number in, don't put the like normally if you do like an area code, or maybe you put some hyphens, let's say your number is 333-444-555. Don't do that. Just put it all together. Some people were getting stumped on that. That was a little bug in their system. So join them in AdsCash. Lastly, and Queen, I'm on a very tight rope tonight, so I'm only going to have about 10 minutes for Q&A, unfortunately. Lastly, Thursday, same webinar link, same webinar time. We're going to introduce our trading mentor. He only has a few spots of folks that he's going to be able to take under his wing, show them from A to Z what he's doing. Everything from how you store your Bitcoin. I mean, you're going to learn more about Bitcoin. I've learned more in just like the last 4 or 5 weeks being on his webinars than I've learned in the last 4 years, okay? So much phenomenal content. Plus, you're going to learn his trading strategy that you're going to be able to implement. Very simple strategy, okay? We're going to introduce him to all of our audience. But because there's only so many spaces, the only folks in our audience that will be able to actually become a part of his trading system will be those that are part of our marketing and training portal called Click, Rank, and Bank, or CRB. So what's going to happen is we're going to have him on Thursday. We're going to do kind of like an interview type piece. I want you to hear his story, how he went from zero to over, by the way, over 400K in assets in just one portfolio. This was that portfolio back on June the 6th at 335,000. And then the next day it was 346, and then the next day it was 354, and then it was 391, then it was 402, then it was 418, then it was 402, then it was 410, then it was 420. This is what we showed last week. Gave back just a little bit from this time last week. Right before we got on the webinar, it was at 415. So from 335 to 415 in 2 weeks' time. What I've noticed with this portfolio is it'll have a giant week, and then it will slow down for a week or two, and then it'll have another giant week. A few weeks ago, this was a $157,000 account. In 1 week, it went from 157 to 302. Slowed down for about a week and a half. Then I started taking those shots at 335. But this is the guy who has this portfolio. This is the guy that we're bringing onto a webinar on Thursday. Okay. Now, if you want to participate in his trading platform, and I'll round third with this, Queen will take 10 minutes for Q&A. If you want to participate in his trading class, all right, much of what you're going to do is going to be video, so you'll be able to go through the content in bite-sized pieces. It's going to be $100 per month, and that's going to be payable in Bitcoin, okay? But he probably only has a little more than 200 spots available. Because of that, though we'll introduce him, no, I'm not going to mention his name, and there's not going to be a link for you to register. That link, assuming it's ready to go by Thursday, it may or may not be, but whenever it's ready to go, it will only be placed in the CRB back office. So the only people that will have it will be those that are in CRB. CRB is our most intimate following. Now, if you want to go on and take a test drive with CRB, it's $1 for 7 days. And thereafter, it's $30 a month. Once these 200 spots are gone, I tried to see if we could get him to increase that. It might be more than 200. 300 is the total number, and he had a following already in there. So it might be a little more than 200. It might be 220, 230, or something like that. But once these spots are gone, he's telling me they're gone. He's telling me that I tried to see if he would open it up for more than 300. He said, no, I want a small group of folks, a small intimate group of folks. I want to be able to be very hands-on with this group, and I don't feel like I can do anything beyond 300, okay? So here's what I'm going to strongly suggest you do. If you don't have CRB, get CRB, go on and take a test drive, all right? If you don't like it, then stop it before 7 days. That'll give you a chance to be in CRB when he does the webinar on Thursday. And if he has a link ready to go, he may or may not. I know he was still tinkering with it. If he has a link ready to go, we will have it in the back office. And that's the only place that people are going to be able to access that link. Plus, CRB is going to help you build your team of auto traders. Now, one thing I will say, and then we round third here. Right now, we develop CRB around an advertising offer. And while we love that advertising offer, they're in beta, and they're really not ready for us just yet. I'll send out some type of video for that advertising audience sometime later on this week to share with you my take from a call that I had 2 days ago with, or it might have been yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, with Troy and Richard, two of the owners. Very heartfelt conversation, very transparent conversation. And we'll share where they are as a company, and because of where they are as a company, where we are in terms of promoting them. So when you come into CRB now, you're going to see a lot of messaging as it relates to that advertising offer. Know that in the background, we are working on a 30-day video series that is specific to the 5-step blueprint, which will promote the auto trade system, but the rest of the 5-step blueprint as well. Lead capture pages will be coming up. By the time the system is in full launch mode, we should have the full 30-day series, all the capture pages, and not long after that, we will start our search traffic co-op marketing once the system has launched in the public sphere and people are able to set up their accounts and trade their accounts and what have you. If you don't have CRB, connect with the person that got you to tonight's webinar. See if they have CRB so they can give you their CRB link. With that, Queen, I've got 10 minutes. Ask me whatever questions you have in 10 minutes.
Okay. The questions box jumped just in. Can we start with $100 and then each month increase it by another $100?
Yeah, you can start with $100. You can increase it at any time by whatever it is that you have. Like with my sons, what my sons are doing, because they have, it's never designed for them to work a job for a long period of time, but I wanted them to work a job, Queen, so they would know why they don't want to work a job. And now they say, Dad, now I get it. But, but what they're doing is they are setting aside from every paycheck, they set aside a certain percentage of that paycheck that's just for investment purposes. All right. And, they'll be loading up their trading accounts and growing their trading accounts, adding to their trading accounts from that. So, yeah, you'll be able to do that.
Okay. We're still testing the CRB. At the time that the trading platform opens up, are we considered a member of CRB?
Say that again? I didn't understand.
Okay. You're doing a 7-day test drive.
Right. Uh-huh.
Are you considered a member of CRB?
Yes. Great question. Yes. Yeah. If you are in test drive mode, you are considered a member of CRB. So you'll have full access to everything that CRB has to offer. Great question. Next question.
Is it beneficial to recruit members in your household to be part of building a network of auto traders?
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you use CRB to specifically promote your own project without any other promotions showing?
No, because what CRB is going to lead in with some type of offer. Originally, it was to lead in with an advertising offer without us ever mentioning the name of the advertising offer through the messaging. And that would just be a call to action that would pop up. That when someone clicked on that call to action button, it would take them to join that particular offer. Similarly, we're going to do the same thing with the Bitcoin space. But again, what our focal point, just like tonight, while we talked about the auto trade system, it was in the confines of the 5-step Digi Millionaire blueprint. So our messaging is going to be around becoming a Digi Millionaire, 5 steps, what have you. So one email, for instance, may focus on one of the early emails. Queen focuses on Mr. Y, the ICO person. All right. There'll be an email, for instance, all video, where we go. We got like 3 or 4 of these already, where we're going to CoinMarketCap, because what we want, even beyond people joining the auto trade platform, we want people to buy into the entire space, immerse themselves in the space. Because while we have the auto trading platform, there will be other credible Digi opportunities. Now, we got to wade through the water on this, Queen. There's a bunch of crap out there. And that's why we'll be testing in the background. And, you know, we shared some ideas with our audience. And we said, hey, you can test alongside side of us. And some of those things were crap. Well, so now what I'm doing in the background, Queen, is I'm doing some testing first. Then we'll come out and we'll share the results of our tests. And so we'll have, you know, something more to go on, because we don't want people putting money into something and then it just goes away. That is part of being an entrepreneur, is that can happen. But we just want to do more due diligence on the front end. So Queen, here's the bottom line. You remember what we were talked about, that in the fall we were planning to launch a separate and distinct portal that was going to be a Digi testing portal. Well, here's where we are. For those of you who are part of that advertising system, again, I'll share more information on it later on this week. Great system. I love where they're going, but they're not where they're going yet. All right. It's not ready for us yet. So instead of us spending a lot of time and resources promoting something that is not ready, and they're telling us, from what I heard this week, it may be a few months before they're really ready. And you'll understand why. And I think you'll understand it, and you'll say, okay, cool. We'll come back to you when you're ready. Okay. Meanwhile, we've got this niche that's doing this now. We need to immerse ourselves in this niche. So basically, what we were going to launch in the fall, we don't have to launch it in the fall. We're just going to incorporate that in CRB. Okay. Next question, Queen.
Okay, this one is a Divi question.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The question is, I'm doing the surveys, and they're asking me, what am I using for employment? They're asking it directly of me, if you don't mind. And I'm assuming that I don't have a regular job either. They're saying that they're assuming that me, don't have a regular job. No, I don't. And that person is retired. And they've been saying they're retired and they're not getting any surveys. Okay, Jim, I am self-employed, and that's what I put in. And I do get a few surveys. So if that helps, then go for it.
Okay.
Okay. How long is the training training with the mentor? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, etc.
Until he stops. Look,
I would say until he stops.
Until he stops, because here's the deal. Even though you will learn his strategy and you will employ his strategy and you'll get good at that, all right? It won't take that long to get good at that. This, like any other industry, is ever changing, all right? So Queen, as long as he's willing to be there, I'm going to be there, because I can teach you this stuff here. I can teach you all day long, all right? And I know some people have asked, well, what happens when that fills up, if I'm not ready now, or if down the road, I bring on teammates. And well, we're entertaining the potential of, when I say we, me, doing a trade room where I actually go in once or maybe twice a week, and we're actually going into the markets, and we're actually looking for trades, and we're placing trades and all that other good stuff. Okay. Now I will tell you, I won't do that forever, and I will share with you, Queen, I got 3.5 years. I am retiring December 31st, 2020.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He's giving us a date, guys.
December 31st, 2020.
Doc is going to retire.
Yeah.
All right. December.
I'll be 50 years young, and I've got other things in life that I need to do for the second half of my life that don't have anything to do with marketing, so that I can leave my footprints in the sand of time other than just marketing. So in any event, Queen, I learned, so every webinar the guy does, I learn something else I didn't know about this space. So don't look at it as it's 3 months or 6 months. Look at it as an immersion of really understanding this industry. And because a year from now, there's going to be so much more than what there is right now. So I'm a subscriber of his as long as, now when I retire, Queen, I'll still be a subscriber if he's still doing it. I'll still be there, okay?
When will we see the offer in CRB for the mentor?
When he has a link for me, when his link is ready. I know he was doing some touches to his website. He's got a separate membership site. So once he tells me that he's ready, he'll get me the link, and we'll put it back in the affiliate center, and we'll let you know. Okay. We'll let you know. So we'll send out an email. Hey, the link is back there in the affiliate center. Now.
Okay. Where can I get a link to join CRB?
Let's first start off with whoever got you to our following. See if they have a CRB link, if you know who that person is. If you don't know who that person is, or that person is no longer following us, then send us an email to clickrankandbank@gmail.com. Hey, Queen, I typed that. You see that?
Hey, that means the hand is getting better. You said it was 90% there, so you're almost at 100%.
Yeah, not quite, because earlier today I was typing and I had to stop because it was getting a little tired and a little weary. But we're getting there. In the subject, if you are a CRB orphan, put CRB orphan, and be mindful that we won't get to those tonight. It'll be sometime tomorrow afternoon, and we'll make sure that if you are CRB orphan that you get a link. Okay. Screen essay, I think I saw something in the questions box. I just glanced over there. If there was something that you were needing that you haven't gotten yet, do me a favor and send in a support ticket, okay? Remember, we look at those things first. All right. Anyway, all right. Screen, I'm going to have to go.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, get back with the person who referred you, get the Ads Cash link, as well as get, if you're interested in the personal trading, you definitely want to go on and become a CRB member. clickrankandbank@gmail.com, only if you are an orphan, all right, or the person that referred to you does not have CRB. Uncle Roo, don't forget to email me, please, so that I've got that reminder. Screen essay, don't forget to send me a support ticket. And with that being said, we love each and every one of you. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. Keep an eye on your emails, because if the automated platform does launch, it may launch tomorrow or the next day. If it does launch tomorrow during the day, Queen, we'll be doing something tomorrow night. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, we love you. Gotta go. Let's get you to Digi. My gosh. Millionaire status. Good night, everyone.
To be Digi millionaire. As we go out, just put it yes in the questions box. Good night, everyone. I'm sorry, Doc.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.